Today we're taking a look at Outgunned. This is from Free League and Two Little Mice. Now this is a cinematic action role-playing game. Now when I first read the description, I had no idea what that actually meant. And so I was expecting, it to be more just general descriptive words that didn't really apply to how the game was played. Now, having gotten into it and spent some time with it, I can actually say that it is probably the perfect descriptor for what this game is. Now, I'm sure some of you are probably wondering, well, what exactly does cinematic action role-playing game mean other than it being a role-playing game? So, first thing, I don't know why they chose this. I really like this print right here. I'm not sure why it speaks to me, just does. Really like it. The book itself, as to be expected with anything from Free League, just fantastic quality throughout. A lot of great art to go with it. I mean, basically the entire game is essentially set to make a better story for you and your players, and all about the actual scene itself that you're setting up. And so first thing you do, obviously, as a player, you create your character, and then there's different classes, not what you typically would have. We have the commando. We have the fighter, the ace, as opposed to wizard, elves, dwarves, and all that stuff. But with each one of them, as you notice right here, it gives great examples of what this character basically is known for. Like the commando, you have John Matrix from Commando, Sarah Connor from Terminator 2, Luke Hobbs, Fast and Furious, Furiosa, Mad Max, and so on. The fact that they actually created these lists to show you exactly which characters basically apply, and make it easier to kind of figure out, who to kind of emulate with your characters as far as their personality and actions. It just makes transitioning into this game so much easier for players. Like one of my favorites is the face, Danny Ocean. Like when I was reading the description, seeing the picture, before I even actually had started looking at the list, my first thought was Danny Ocean. And so, there's a lot of, great examples there. It even includes Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, and, the Nobody, Eggsy from Kingsman is a great one. Just somebody that you don't really expect to kind of come along and change things up. Jack Burton, Big Trouble in Little China. And, it's a lot of great examples and a lot of, fun archetypes to play. Now, the bulk of the game is basically, like I said, it's about creating the scene. And so one thing also before we get too far into this is, instead of a dungeon master or game master, this game system uses the same kind of concept, but it is called the director. So they're basically setting up the scene, and then you have your archetypes acting through the scene, and essentially the goal is to make the scene as awesome, as epic as possible. And doing that, you can have a lot of fun pretty easily, as long as you allow yourselves to kind of get into it. And so the dice system is also very unique for a role-playing game. I've never played one like this, but you use pools of dice, and it's kind of very similar to the game Warcry from Games Workshop, where you have your pools of dice, and then you take from those pools, the one like that you've rolled ahead of time, the the numbers that, or the pairs that best fit your action that you need, and then you use that to determine the results. And so it makes for a very interesting mechanic, and again, very unlike anything I've ever played before. And it's all about creating that story and essentially focusing on making it as enjoyable experience for everybody involved. Not nearly as much prep I feel like needs to go into playing this game as you would like an actual like full D&D campaign or anything like that. And so it's basically easily made to be one where you can basically just pick it up, get your group together, and start a scene and start playing. And I mean, we had a hell of a good time with this one. I always talk about how great the production quality is from the folks at Free League, and they've really outdone themselves again. And I would say, with the exception of their Alien RPG, that this is probably my favorite one that they've actually released. Just absolutely fantastic, well worth the play and the experience. And I think that if you're looking for something new to play, something drastically different than what you're used to, this is the game. I think that really everyone should actually give this one a shot. Again, start to finish, we had a great time, and definitely looking to using some of these game mechanics to kind of homebrew some of the other games that we've played, to kind of do like those worlds but with this style. And I think it will carry over quite well doing that. But again, the mechanics, they feel completely unique, unlike anything I've seen before, and absolutely loved how they set it up. And honestly can't wait to play this one again, and just hopefully this time we make a better scene than we did last time. But that's it all for us today. Thank you guys as always for watching, and we'll catch you next time.